In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build one of my McLaren 2023 F1 cars. Okay, so first things first, here is all the parts that I used to build the car. And of course, if you need to pause at any point during this to double check the parts, feel free, but I will be going through them obviously one by one as I build the car as well. If you find it more comfortable to watch this video at 1.25 or 1.5x speed, then feel free to do that as well, as the build may be a little slow at times. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with the floor of the car. So obviously most of the F1 cars have, I think it's actually wood at the bottom of the car, so that's why I have this tan plate here. And use a couple of these curved plates as well to go along with it. And then the next step is to get one of these 4x4 plates, and that goes a couple of studs back and that connects all these other parts together. And then for the next part you need all of these pieces here, so you get the 2x3 plates, connect them under there, and same on that side as well, like that. And then these two just sit here just for now. And the next thing to do is get the 1x4 plates, snap them on, and they go on both sides, and now connect the other plates that we put on the last step. And then now at the front, just get a 2x4 plate and connect that in there. So then again, continuing on with the floor of the car, so add in some tiles on the corners. And then just down the side as well, a couple more tiles, same on both sides. So we've got a 1x2 and a 1x1 on both sides. And then we get two of these long 1x8 plates, and they just rest in there, they don't connect just yet. Then we get the 6x1 plates, and then they will connect it all together. So I've used two here, but you could obviously just use one 2x6 plate instead. Then I grab some 2x4 plates and continue building down the side of the floor, like that. And then next to the tiles on both sides, get a 1x4 plate and pop that in on both. Then a 2x6 plate, and then underneath a 2x8 plate, so that just joins up to the tan plate that we put on in the first step. And the car should be looking like that at this point. Then again here, more of these 1x6 plates. Again, you could use a 2x6. And now we're adding in our first wedge plate, so that will complete the main body of the floor. So one that side and one the other side, facing that way. And we get another 1x4 plate. And I had actually just built this wrong. So these 1x8 plates, they just need to go all the way back like that. So the bottom of the car should look like that. And then now the top should look like this. And then I've got this 2x1 plate that just goes at the front there. And then get one of these funky pieces, and then that will attach in the middle of the bottom of that plate. So now that'll be in line with the rest of the car. And then we get two 1x4 plates, and they will go on here. And again, feel free to pause at any point if you need to see exactly what I'm doing. And I've got some 1x2s and 1x1 plates, or of course you could just use some 1x3 plates, and they will connect in down here. And that is the same on both sides again. So just like this. And then using the same pieces again, we're gonna create a corner plate, which again you could just use a corner plate for. But some of the pieces I've used in this are just what I had available at the time. And of course, if you want to make yours slightly different with the pieces that you have available, then of course feel free to do that. As obviously this is what I've done in some places of this build. And then the next thing to do is grab a 2x3 plate and a jumper plate. And then with the 2x3 plate, you'll connect the piece that we put on the front earlier. And then the jumper plate just goes behind. And we get a 2x4 brick, and then that goes on the back there. And then a 1x4 brick just goes in front of it. Then same two pieces again, it's got a 2x4, a 1x4, and of course you could just use 3 2x4 bricks there. And I've also got a 1x2 brick which goes in front, just like that. So we get two 1x4 bricks, and they attach either side of the 1x2 that we just put in. Two 1x1 bricks, and they will connect just in front of them, and they'll be slightly lower than the bricks that we put in on the last step. And then we're just going to use 1x1 plates to bring that up, so it's all the same level down the side of the car. So now we'll get two 1x2 plates, and they will snap on. And if you haven't guessed already, this will be the front of the car and that is the back of the car. A couple of tiles, they'll go on the insides there and on there. And then we just want to get a 1x1 plate and put that next to the two tiles that we just put on. And then we want to get one of these clip pieces, and that will put onto the jumper plate whilst we can still access it in the middle, which is where the steering will attach to. So then for the steering, get this like game controller piece, and then it clips onto one of these plates, just like that. And then that will clip in, and that is the steering wheel done. And the next parts we want is a 2x2 brick, and that goes just in front of the steering wheel, and a jumper plate, and that goes just in front here. You get a 1x1 brick, and that goes on the part that extends out from the car. And then we get a 1x2 plate, which will connect onto there. And then for the next step, we want to get 2 of the 1x1 plates, just stack them together, make sure they're neat, and then place that on with a gap in the middle. Then we want to get 2 of these curved slopes, and they will attach facing outwards from the front of the car, just like that. And we want this weird little piece, and that will attach on top of the 2 plates that we put on earlier, just like that. And now we're finally going to be adding our first little splash of colour with these really nice blue parts which connect on like that. So we want to get a jumper plate and put it just behind the steering wheel, and then 2 more of these wedge plates which connect onto these 2 bricks here, and they'll face inwards like this. And we get this weird car wedge plate, I don't really know what the actual name for it is, and that will connect in and cover up the gaps that we've made with those last 2 pieces. And then we attach another clip, and this is what the halo will eventually clip onto. And you want to get one of these bricks, the Technic brick with a hole in the middle, and one of these slopes, and the Technic brick will be sideways on it just like this, and then that will connect in this gap there. So now I'm going to put this to one side, and we're going to build the front wing. So we'll start out with a 2x3 plate, and we want a 2x4 plate and connect it onto there like so. And with these, we want to use these wedge plates to connect it onto there, and same again on the other side, and then add a 1x2 plate to bridge the gap in the middle. So now your front wing should be looking something like this. So then if we just rest that down on the table, and that won't connect just yet, then we want the same on the other side, and then there will also be one of these 1x2 plates, and that will bridge that gap completely. So then to connect this on, we'll use a 2x2 plate on this side, and that will connect that. Then on this side, use a 2x2 plate again, and that will just connect the 2 of them together, so they're not connected to the rest of the front wing just yet. And then this part is basically the nose of the car, so that clips onto there, leaving the one stud at the front. Then we'll use these tile pieces, and we use the square ones next to the nose, and then we use these rounded corner ones either side of them. And we want 2 more of these curved slopes, and that goes in there. And then this is how this connects to the rest of the front wing, so that will connect just like that. Then we want 1x1 plates, and they go in just behind where we put those slopes in to bring it all at an even level. Then we want some 1x1 tiles, and they will just go next to the slopes at the edges of the front wing. And some more 1x1 plates, and they'll go next to the tiles we just put on. And then we get more slopes, put them on top of the pieces we just put on, just like this. And then to finish off the front wing, get a couple of 1x1 tiles. And now the last thing to do for the front wing is the end plate. So I use these weird tile pieces, they connect on like that on both sides. And then on the last exposed stud, just put a 1x1 tile, and again make sure you do that on both sides. So that's now our front wing done, so we can go ahead and attach that to the rest of the car. So if I just lift that piece off for a second, we can connect that, attach our wheel piece back on, and then that will connect it all together. So if we spin the car around, then we want to use a 2x6 plate and connect that on the back, so there's a gap just in front of it. And then get a couple of tiles, 1x4s, and they attach there and there. And we're going to use these little dome curved pieces. Again, I'm not quite sure what these are called, and they will go next to the tiles that we just put on like that. And now it's time to start working on one of the side pods. So you get a brick modified with a stud on the side, and that goes in just next to that piece there. And next to that we want a 1x2 brick. Then we want one of these wedge plates, and that goes next to the modified brick we put on. And then next to that we get one of these quartz tile pieces which goes on like that. And then get 2 1x1 plates and attach them together, and then they go onto the brick with the stud on the side. Another part of the side pod, we want to get one of these, put an orange 1x1 plate in like that. On top of that we want a 1x2 plate, and then on top of that one of these 2x2 plates. And then this piece connects onto the 1x2 brick that we put on earlier, just like that. And then on top of that we want to get one of these curved tiles, put that on there. And then in the gap of that curved tile we want another one of the quarter tiles, like that. And we want another quarter tile but in orange this time, and then that will connect onto the plates just here. And then we want an orange corner brick, and that will place in that way round. And then 2 of these orange 1x1 plates, connect them together, and that will go in the gap of the corner brick. Then we want one of these orange slopes, and that will connect the corner brick and the pieces that we put on earlier. And then we want one of these blue 1x2s, and that will go next to the 2 orange 1x1 plates. And we also want a black 1x1, and that will go just behind that blue plate. So now to finish off this part of the side pod, we get a blue slope and a smaller blue slope, and we want another quarter tile, put that behind the smaller blue slope in that little gap. And we want a 1x1 tile to put it behind the bigger slope, and then another one of these curved slopes to go behind that. So now we're going to spin the car around, and it will essentially be the exact same thing on the other side. So again, we've got a modified brick, we've got a 1x2 brick, we get our wedge piece and a quarter tile, 2 1x1 plates. Then we'll be making up this part of the side pod again. So get 1x1 in there, 1x2 on top, and then a 2x2 plate, and then connect that onto the side pod. And another one of these curved pieces, just go there, and then again fill the gap with a quarter tile. We get our orange quarter tile and place it on the exposed stud here. Then get our orange corner brick, put that in, and then 2 plates on top of that. We get another one of these curved orange slopes, blue 2x1 piece, along with a black 1x1. Then we get our 2 curved blue slopes, and big one at the back and the smaller one on the front again. Then we put a quarter tile in again behind the smaller one, 1x1 tile behind the bigger one, and then the curved slope behind that piece. Now moving on to the back of the car, get a jumper plate and another Technic brick which our wheels will connect to. Of course with the holes pointing out to the sides. And then this piece will be quite tricky to get to at the end. So I would put in these grey Technic pins now. It'll be much easier at the end of the build when we attach the wheels. Then we want to get 2 of these brackets, and they go at the very back of the car. And then in the middle of these brackets, towards the front of the car, will go the 1x2, and at the right at the back of the car will be the jumper plate. Then we attach one of these smaller brackets on top of the jumper plate, and we put a jumper plate on top of the 1x2 plate. And then on the bottom layer of the big brackets, we want to put a 1x2 tile on both sides. And then we want a 1x2 plate and put that over the middle of the bracket there. Then we can get a 1x3 plate and join all of that together so it's now in line with the rest of the car. And then add another clip on and a 1x2 tile. Then we're going to need 2 2x2 plates, and they will attach on the brackets. And then we want to get 2 of these tiles again and put them on just like that. Then we're going to need 4 of these orange pieces. So they go on each side, so 2 on each side facing upwards, just like that. And then we want to get this weird little piece which is going to signify the exhaust, so we connect that into the hook that we put on earlier. And then we want 2 of these brackets but going down this time, and they will connect in to the black plate. So 1 on each side. They're not the easiest thing to get in, so you might want to remove the plate like I just done on the second one, push it back in, and then this piece for the rear wing then sits on top of the brackets we just put in. And then on top of the rear wing piece we want to put an orange tile, and at the back we want to put our rain light on. just like that. Moving on to the back part of the car, we want 4 jumper plates. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 connected on there. We then want 7 of these parts here. So we're going to put 1 in the middle at the back where the driver's head would be. And then we're going to put 3 on each side like this, fill up all these gaps. Then we'll use this 2x2 black brick, fill in that hole just there, and then get our orange slope part here and pop that on next to that. We then want 2 more jumper plates and put them on top of the 2x2 black plate. And then we've got a black tile that goes on top of the orange piece, and in front of that goes an orange tile, and then in front of that goes one of these orange bracket pieces, which will then connect this round half tile to. Then want to get one of these orange 1x1 plates, put that at the top. Then on top of that, get one of these round studs, and that goes on there. You can then choose either a black or a yellow plate to go on top of that to signify which driver it is. And then we want to assemble our halo. So we use these motorbike handle parts with some lightsaber hilts. So they attach onto there like that. Then we get 2 of these bar parts. I think they're 2 long bars, and they connect onto there. And then the halo just snaps into the clip we put on earlier, and that is the halo done. So now the last thing to do is to connect the wheels. So we need these bar pieces and all of these grey Technic pins. So if we put 2 in at the front like that, so we already put them in at the back, and we want to get these pins, put them on the other side. So 1 on each bar, and just slide them on until you get a little bit of resistance. Now this is the main part of the wheel. We will then attach one of these tyres to it. This will just make the wheel a little bit more realistic in the size of the wheel compared to the car. And you can then get these wheel covers on and pop them in like that. And then if you connect the wheel to the Technic pin and then push the bar into the Technic pins that we put in earlier. So as you can see, I've now got the wheels on, and that is the car completed. And if you're interested in getting any more cars like this, then check out the link in the description where you can get some of my instructions for the other cars.